So what we are doing next now is we are going to look into cross selector. So let's screen all these things. We're through with ID. Let's screen Control A, screen all of it. Then let's go to our CSS. Let's also screen this. Control A, backspace. So we now have empty HTML and empty CSS. So what you're going to do now is basically, let's just light it here with comments. Shift asterisk, um, shift asterisk, this one. I think this is not what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, asterisk in the back. Yeah, in between them. To the right. What you're going to do now is um, yeah, class selector. Let's use a block letter. Class selector, selector, class selector. That is what we are going to do now. Next. So, having said that, so let's go to our HTML. Let's create. First, let's go back to our. Let's remove this contact.html is of no use to us. Let's just leave index.html and CSS. Then style.css. Let's delete that. Yeah, move to cycle bin. So back to our HTML. Inside our HTML, let's add the simple HTML structure. Then we're going to write in our code inside this our body element. So what you're working on now is class selector. So inside this class selector now, so let's just create a simple heading. Let's say okay, let's use h2. Let's use it with okay, let's use a block letter h2. Enter. Let's say inside the h2, let's say um okay, let's just say I am called, okay, let me do it this way. I am called um blue. Okay, I'm called blue. Then let's highlight it and duplicate it up to, let's say, 8 places. Let's highlight it. Then shift at down arrow key. We need it up to 8 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what we are going to do now, let's say immediately after blue, let's add this place is I am called okay, what color will I use now? Okay, I am called purple. Let me use purple. Okay, this one, let's put that purple here again. Purple. Sorry about this. This is P, not that. Then here is purple. Here is purple. And then down here is purple again. Say purple. Yes, purple. I think this is better now. So blue, purple, blue, purple, blue, purple, blue, purple. Just let's make this thing. Just use it this way. So I am called blue, I am called purple. So let's click our F1 to live preview it and see what we have. So F1, show live server preview. Live server preview. It's loading. Let's wait for it to load. Yes. So it's upload now. So this is the content of our head 2. So as you can see, this head h2, 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 then all of them, all these h2, all these are the same elements. It's the same elements. So if you can see the contents of the elements, which is this text inside the elements, all of them are the same size, which shows that this is the same element, which is head 2 for all of them. So for us to use class selector, it's very to give this one blue, this one purple, this one blue, this one purple, this one blue. What we actually do, how we actually do classes, is just enter as you do the ID. Instead of doing lighting ID, use class. For instance, let's say class. Just type class. Let's use okay, it doesn't matter, just remove our caps lock block letter. Let's say class, enter. Inside the class, let's type blue, then inside this one again, let's say class, enter. Let's say purple, sorry about that, say purple. Then inside this place again, inside this another element, which is, let's say class, enter. Inside class blue, then so I have to do it one after the other. So it's enter. So inside the class we put in purple, then inside our h2 here, say class, enter. There's blue. This is blue now. This is going to be blue. Then down to purple again. Let's give space, class, enter. Let's say purple again, then down to this one, space, class, enter. Let's say blue, down to this one, and then let's say class, then purple for the last one. Okay, last one, purple. So let's give some space in between the spaces between the elements, enter, so it will look more nice by looking at it. So yeah, enter, okay, this one, enter, yeah, enter, yeah, just spacing it out so it will look more ordered on then so this I think is more okay this way. Yes, so and one class blue and called blue. So let's go to our style. What we do here now, for us to implement this class selector, what you have to do now is we use dots instead of hash. Use dots, our class name. Let's say we have purple and blue here, so let's say dots the name of our class. Let's start with blue, blue, then curly braces. inside our curly braces, let's say color, enter, blue. So it will update and it's supposed to reflect here. It's supposed to reflect here. Let me refresh this our HTML previewer. F1. Supposed to. Oh my. Okay. Supposed to preview this. F1. Only HTML file. Okay. Sorry about that. So I have to do it from this place. Oh. I think we have the issue is not from us. It's not from the system. The issue is the error is from me. I do not link the HTML. I do not link the HTML here. So let me open the live preview, live style preview. So to open it. So let me link the HTML. I have not linked it. So let me clean it. So I want as I'm typing it to be previewing automatically and we see it immediately. So let me link our HTML style to our index.html. Let me link it to index.html. So linking it must be in between the title and the header, closing tag of header. So just type link inside highlight, just click backward slash, then go to our path. Our path is our HTML style file is inside our CSS, is inside our CSS folder. Click that, then select the style.css file, which is this one. So we have now linked our CSS and our our CSS style. Sorry about that. We have now linked our CSS style to our HTML. So back to our CSS. So let's slide the code. If you can observe in our code, in this element, which is head 1, head 2, I will have only two classes here, which is blue, this blue and purple. So let's go back to our style.css. Let's start with blue. So for us to use class selector, we have to use dot, the name of the class, dot blue. So dot blue. I want to use dot blue, then curly braces, enter. So let's add color to this our class. So let's say color. Let's select blue. You can see all the classes has inherited this. All the classes with blue has inherited this blue color. Just by writing these two lines of code, they have all inherited this color. Say 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you go back to our HTML, see them blue, jump purple, blue, see it. So all of them with blue, they have inherited the properties of the class, which is they have inherited the properties of the class, which is the blue color. So back to our CSS, we can actually change the color. We can actually change the color to whatever we want. It's not much that it must be blue. We can say red. You can say red. All of them will be red, but just for this tutorial and for convenience, just put blue because the text itself said I am called blue, so there's no need of giving it a color that is not called. So let's give it that blue that it says is called. So let's say let's put blue back, blue. Then it is now updated. Now let's put the purple class. So say dot purple, dot purple, yeah, dot purple, dot purple. Then open curly braces. Inside the curly braces, we now say color, enter. So let's say purple, purple. There's the purple. You can see that, yes, so you can see that it is now highlighted all the whole purple classes, all the purple class, all the element that has purple classes in them have inherited the color purple. So you can also add other things to the class. Let's say enter, let's say background color, let's say, let's give it let me just use gray. I don't know what I can find gray. I can actually type it. Let me use this one for the blue. This color always match with blue. Let me use it. You can see that all of them just automatically inherit the background color. So inside purple, let's say background color, the background color, let's say background color, yes, background color. What color match this one now? Let's see black. How will black look? Yeah, black is, I think, is a little bit okay. So that's it for class selector. So that's it for class selector. So the next thing, let's screen this first. Let's highlight this. Let's highlight this. Let's screen it. So the next thing we are going to talk about now is div. I want to screen this. Block letter, div, and span. Div and span. This is very important topic. So let's go to our HTML. Let's go to our HTML. Let's screen the content of our body, content of elements in the body. I'll screen this. I have to screen all of them. Okay. Yeah, so let's go back up. So you can see now, let's give out more space here. So as you can see now, inside our HTML structure, so we want to implement div, and span. So let's write a simple head and passage. So let's say head 1. Let's use this. Let's move this block letter. Let's say h1. Enter. Inside the h1, let's just say let me just make this thing. Let me make this header to be a bit more. Yeah, let me do this way. Inside our head 1, let me just say the story. Just like the story. Use log. The story. The storybook. The storybook. The storybook. Then inside below the h1, let's put a paragraph. Inside the paragraph, let's use a random word of, let's say 50. Okay, 50 words is seen to be much. Okay, it's not that much. Let's use 50 random words. lol 50 to generate 50 random words. So enter. So it have generated random 50 words. So let's come down. What we're using is hash1. Then under the paragraph, let's create another hash1 again. Hash1. Enter. Let's say the storybook. Now that's what we're going to use on this one. Okay, let's say about okay, let me make sure this corresponds with the first one. Okay, now about my okay, let's say about my, or we're gonna use now. Okay, about my book. Simple. Let's leave it like this. About my book. So under the head one, we have to add paragraphs. Adding the paragraphs now. Let's also use 50 random words. So lorem 50. Enter. So we have a random 50 words. So then let's check whether our CSS is linked to be sure. Okay, we have already linked our CSS to our HTML, so we don't have that same error again. So let's go to our style. Okay, it's empty. That's fine. Now let's add div. Let's start with div. So let's add div. Let's add div block. Div elements. So div. Div. Enter. Let's close this. We need to make sure the div. We want to make sure that head1 element, h1 element, and the paragraph element are inside our div block. So let's put the closing div block tag here. Let's say okay /div. Okay, now we now have our h1 and the p, which is our paragraph, inside div. Now let's also do it in the second one. Let's give space, then div, enter. Let's put the closing tag at the end of below the paragraph. So let's have more space here. So let's say div. So we now have the second h1 and its paragraph inside the div block. So the simple expression to div is just a block of code. Simple expression to div is just anything you do inside div. Anything you do inside div will not. Okay, let's just do practical. That does not keep explaining. Let's go to our CSS. Before we go to our CSS, we can actually do something here inside our div. Let's say let's give it an ID. Let's say it's an ID. Let's say ID is equals to storybook. I just use this word, storybook space storybook. Then inside this div, let's say our let's say we have my book. Let me just use my book ID. Then inside the ID to question what's it called, inside the ID. Let me just say my book. So this is the two things that I want. So let's go to our style. Let's start with the styling. Let's start styling div and see how it works. So inside our style CSS, let's say this is for ID, which we are going to use this as the name of our ID. Let's start with storybook. So let's open our curly braces, enter. Let's cross this space between the storybook. So inside our curly braces, let's give this particular div d. Oh my goodness! I think I have a short error here. What is that saying? Oh no, it doesn't even mean anything. Let's just put something. Let's say color. Let's say color. Let's say blue. Why is it not reflecting? Are we having any issue here? Let's put space. Why is this not reflecting here? Let's go back to HTML and find out why. Storybook. Okay, that's the div ID. Actually, what we're supposed to use is class, not ID. Let's close this. Let's highlight it and delete it. Yeah, so let's go back to our HTML. Instead of using this, just make this more simple for us. Yes, let's say class equals to, let's say story. Let's say story is our class. Then let's go down here. Let's say the ID here is the class. Here will be mine. Let's let this say class. Okay, so now let's also try and see what will happen. So to style a class, just write dot book. Inside it, let's see what will happen. Enter. Let's see color. Let's say color. Enter. Let's just say violet. What will happen? Why is this thing not reflecting in our? Why is it not reflecting? So what is the okay? Let's go back and see what's going on. So let's say here, our class name is story. So let's go back to our style.css. So let's say dot story. You can see it's only affect the block. Div is just a kind of for starting a block of code or block of an element. So let's go back to, okay, let's also do the second one, which is what's the name of our class there? I think is mine. The name of what we put inside the div is mine. So let's go back to our style CSS. So let's say dot mine, open our curly braces, Inside our color brush, just say green for the color. Let's say green. Let's say green. Not gray, sorry. I want green. What I want is green, not gray. I want green. Green. So you can see the color is not green. This is because of this is the class. This is class inside our div. So the div itself, anything that you do inside a div is the simple way, the way I understand this div is as simple as this. Anything, this is the opening tag of div element, this is the closing tag of div element. So anything that you add inside, anything that you put inside this div, like color, as we have highlighted and as I've done in our as we use class to illustrate, anything you do within, you put in the opening tag here. Let's take, for instance, let's just say, let's close, let's just put inline styling. Also note that inline styling is more powerful than the external styling. Let's just use inline styling so you can understand what this is all about. Let's say give space, say style, enter, then color, enter, then let's put that green again, or let's say green. I want green. I've already used green. Let me use another color here. Let me say red. Let's say red. So the simple explanation to div is just a div is a kind of an element. A div is an element which, when applied to other elements, when other elements are inside it, any changes you made in the first tag of the div will affect the whole of the content. As simple as that. Why the span is for inline changes or inline styling. So let's close this our inline styling and take it back to the standard view. So let's create our class again. Let's create our class. Inside our class, let's put back that our story. So story, yeah, it's have inherited our code here because of the story. So now let's also work on span. Let's say let me just light something inside this place, inside this our London test, which in the first div. Let me just say something like after this question mark, let me just say something like let me use block letter. Okay, before I use, let me add span so you can see what span means, how it works. Span, inside this span, let me say let's say I am block letter, block okay, let me use a small letter for this. Okay, let me just write something like I can change okay, I can change to block letter. the block letter. Let me put double T there. So now we have now added span inside our div. So now let's see how we can style this our span inside our CSS. So let's add class to it. Let's say our class, let's say dots, not dots, let's say class, enter. Let me give it the name of change, because it has I can change to. So since it has I can change to, let's use the change. Let's say change. Let's say change. That's the name of the class for this particular span. So let's also add another span inside the second paragraph of the second div block. Let's say inside here, let's add span. Let's say span. Let's add span. Inside span, let's light inside. I am happy. I am happy. I am happy. So inside our span, let's create a class inside. Let's create class inside the class. Let's give our class name happy. Class name happy. So we have now done what we need to do. So let's go back to our styling so we can see how the span works. So inside our style.css, let's go to well, this is for our div. So let's go to our span. Sorry, not span. This class. So let's say dot. The name of our class, which is the first one, is change. Change. Then curly braces. Inside curly braces, what we want to do now, once this our curly braces now, this letter here, I can change to letter. I can change to block letter. So let's say transform. Say transform. I want to transform text. Transform text. It's not text. Let's tell. Oh, that's not what I want. What I want to do now is, so what we want to do now, since what we write here is I can change to block letter. So let's say inside this our code, let's say text transform. You can see. So inside our text, let's say uppercase. So let's say uppercase. You can see, you can look at our code. I can change to block. You can see it have transformed it to uppercase. The span mostly work within the line of the content of an element. So for example, now you can see our HTML. You can see this is our span. This is our span element. You can see within the span element, you will see I can change to block letter. This is in lowercase, so I will convert it to inside the style CSS. We add the change. We use the name change as our class for the span. Then coming into our CSS, we now transform the inline. Text to an uppercase from lowercase to uppercase. So I think we can still you can as well add color. You can as well change the color for that particular line of text. Let's say color. It's very possible. I think so. It's very possible. Enter. Let's change it to let's use a color that will be bright. Let's say yellow. Let's say yellow. I think it's, yes, you can see that, but it's too bright. Let's use chocolate. Let's say chocolate color. Let's say chocolate. So you can see that. So this is the span element at work. You can see how it's working. We're just changing, manipulating changes inside the div block, but even outside div block, you can still use span. You can still use span inside any text at all without div. Div is just for general block of code, but for span is for inline. So let's just you can add many things just to the span, and you will see the effect there. Let's just add another one. Let's just say let's add background color to that span. Let's say the background color, say background color. Let's say the background color will be, let's see whether black will match this chocolate color. Let's see. Yeah, you can see that it actually makes it more bold. You can see that. Yes, this is for span. That's how span works. So let us also do, go to the second span, which is in our second block of code, which is div. So let's go to the second span, which is happy. So let's also manipulate that one as well. So the name of the class is happy. So dot happy. Open our curly braces. Then inside, let's just transform the text. Let's make it more bold so it can stand out from the random text there. So let's say text transform. So let's say uppercase. You can see that. You see, I am happy. Let's see whether I can underline it. I don't know whether it will work. Text underline. Let's use this one. Let's see whether it will work. I haven't used this before, but once it's within the span, you can do whatever you want. Let's just put color and make it stand out from the color of the block. Let's give the span a specific color. Let's say the color of the span will be, let's say let's give it a color that will make a little bit sense, and the color will also stand out from that. Let's go down. Let's say I want a very unique color that will give me what I want here now. Okay, I don't want this one. Let me keep on going down. Let me see whether I can get the color that I want. Okay, oh no, lemon will almost match with green. Okay, let me use select one. Which one am I going to select now? Okay, let me use this olive. I think olive will match. No, it's almost the same color with the green. Look at it, it changes, but it's not that visible. Let's change the color to let's say red, let it be more visible. That's what is supposed to have been used. So this LED now, you see, this is span at work. You can see I am happy, I am happy. You can see I am happy. You can see all you have to do is just give the span elements a class, then come inside style CSS, inside your CSS, then add whatever you want and start manipulating it by doing whatever you want. You can actually do this thing as a inline CSS styling, but this is the best way. I think this is the best way to do it. So let's just add background color. Let's use blue as background color and see how it will look like. Yes, you can see that though it's not fine. The color does not match. Let's say let's use gray. I think gray will always work with lead. Let's say gray. Gray. Let's use gray. Yeah, I think gray is a little bit nicer. So you can see I am happy. I am happy. I am happy for span. So that's how it works. So but then back to this just know that story is for our div and my is for div. My book, the storybook, this is for div block. The two of them is for div block. Why this down one change and happy is for span. So let's also add something in div. Let's say inside our first div, which is div, this block of code here. So the only effect of our div here is just this color. Let's add more thing. Let's just say that background color. Let's just say, let's just give it this color. Yeah, you can see that. Then inside this our green, let's say background color. Let's give it let's just give it a color that will look a little bit sense. Let's just try this one out and see how it will look like. Yeah, I see this one. You can see that is adding background color to our div. This is the block of our code to affect everything inside the block code, inside the elements. Then but the span is just for inline only. So the next thing we are going to do now is let's just screen both our index.html, screen that, then style, let's also screen that. Okay, excluding this one. Okay, let's just screen that. So what we are doing next now, we are going to look at how to create a transition. I think that's the correct spelling. Transition and transition and animation. How to create transition and animation in CSS. So that's what you're going to be working on. So let's open our HTML. Let's create simple HTML structure. Then inside our body tag, let's create let's light. So we're creating div enter. Then we create another one down here, div enter as well. So let's give space away from the body, opening tag, and it's supposed to be here. Yeah. So inside our div element, so we're having two. So the first one, let's create class inside it. Let's say class class equals to, let's say transition, transition. Then let's also put it in the visible one. Let's just put it inside this. Let's just say transition as well. Transition. Yeah, this transition. Then that's it for our div. So we have to reopen this scroll this out in there. Okay, let's do this one as well. Let's create a class. Then inside, let's say animation. Then inside our content for the element div, we want to write animation. Yeah, animation. So that is what we're going to write. So let's close this and refresh and reopen our click F1. Let's reopen our live server preview. Yeah, so you can see transition and animation. So two of them, we have now done that. So let's go back to our CSS. So you can see it is empty. So we are now inside our style.css. Let's say that definitely let's say that our div will have the same, let's give the same property to our div. So let's say dot div, put your curly braces inside it. Let's say our, let's say width will be, let's say is let's give it 300 pixels. Then enter. Then let's say height. Let's give it height. Let's say height will be 150 pixel. 150 pixel. Enter. Then let's give the margin. Let's say margin. Let's give margin 10 pixel. So this is what we need. Enter. Okay. So we are gonna close this one. Let's go back to here. So this is what the property we are giving to our to the whole of our div. So it's supposed to have reflected here. It's supposed to reflect here. Let's refresh this hour. Let's open our live preview. Let's see. Oh my, we did this mistake again. We have not linked our, so we have to link our CSS to our CSS style to our HTML. So what we have to do now, make sure it's always in between the title and the closing tag of header. So instead I just click link inside I left just /, go to our path, which is our folder, click style.css. So let's go back to our CSS. Then now just click the F1 now to work. Let's click it now. F1 again, it's supposed to work now. Yes. Maybe we can preview only if HDS. That's what we're saying. Okay. So let's go back to our style CSS. So don't think there's any problem here. I think I'm having a serious issue. I'm not supposed to put that because this div is not a class. That's my own mistake. So if I have to remove that dot so it can work, yeah, so I'll remove that dot. It's not a class. This is a div. So styling for div, general styling for the whole of the div we have in index.html, this div. So the class is inside the div tag. So this is it. Now you can see the effect of this pixels and the width and height here. So I've adjusted itself. So let's just add color to the div. Let's just say enter. Let's say the color. Let's say color. Let's say color. Let's just give it. Now let's just use this one, Azure or whatever it's called. Azure is, it just looks like white. I just called it. Let's just use that. Make use of that one. So then what we're going to now do is we're now going to invoke the classes. So we have to create dot transition. The class we create is the transition, the class, which is this one, the first div. So let's add it here. So dot transition. I think the spelling is collect dot transition. This transition, yeah, the spelling is collect dot transition. Then open curly braces. Inside our curly braces, let's say color. Say color. And let's just give it let's say this color here, preference. You can see that you see the color here. Okay, so what we're going to do is background color. Say background color. Let's make our background color purple. Yes, you can see that. Then let's just say transition within the curly braces. Say transition. Then let's say let's just say 4 seconds. Yeah, 4 seconds. 4 seconds. You can see how you can see the movement. You can see how it's moving. 4 seconds. Well, let's say let me just say let me add 2 seconds. You can see the movement. Now how about 1 second? Can I just say 5 seconds to moving so gently? This transition. Well, let me just leave it at, let's say 1.5. 1.5. Let's just say 1.5. 1.5. Okay. But this transition now, let me see what I can do here. I don't want it to do this way. What I actually want, okay, yeah. So the transition, let me just do it this way. All elements, say all, enter, all, let me say 1 point, let me just say one, okay, let me say 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, okay, 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds is okay. 1.5 seconds. Then you can see the little movement. Then let me just say linear movement. Just going to and fro. Just say linear. You can see the movement. Then let's put a semicolon. Okay, see the movement. This is for transition. Then let's say let's just add others. Let's just add small thing inside it. Let's go below our curly. Let's open another curly braces again. Open out another curly braces. Let's say dot transition. dot transition. So now we are now inside this our class dot transition. Let's say this. Okay. Let's say hover. Let's do this. Hover. Hover. Let's use this hover. Then hover. Then I have to open another curly braces. Open another curly braces inside. My bad. What we have to do? Let's close this our curly braces. What we really need to do is let's bring it a small closer here. Then dot hover. We are now inside our transition. Dot hover. Okay, dot transition. Then hover. Want to add hover property to it. So I have to open the curly braces. Then we now say background. Let's say background color. Let me use let me use a color that will be eye catching. Let me use this. Say chartreuse color, whatever that means. Chartreuse. Then we have to come down and also type transform. Then after transform, then we now type translate. That's what we need. Translate X. That's what we need. Then this is a function inside this translate. Then we now say, let's say how many pixels? Let me just say 200 pixel. So let's see what's happened when we hover our mouse over to this. See what happened. See that? You can see it's as I hover my mouse over the div. You can see this color appear. That's what it simply means. Translate the hover. When you hover your mouse over the div block, it will translate, and then as it translates, then it changes to this color. That's what it simply means. And then just note that in transition, it just kind of 2 and 3, just kind of 1 to 100, just from 1 it go to 100 and return to 1. 1 is just kind of this. That is the 1 is its states. Then once you hover over it, it's go to 100 and come back to 1. So let's say you can see that 100. If you move your mouse back to 1, so that is for transition. So enter. Let's give space. Let's come down. Let's also come down. Let's create animation. Let's say dot animation. This is for our animation. So open a curly braces. So as we are open the curly braces, just let's give it a background so we can see it. So let's say background color. Let's give it a very nice color that we would like, and that will also be interesting. Let's say I think this color will make sense. Let's see how it looks like. Okay. It's too shiny. Okay, there's no problem. You can use that cyan. So then what we're going to do next, come down here, just type in type in arts, shift arts. You need to look for keyframes. That's what we need, keyframes. So in our at our keyframe here, then what we're going to do now, open our curly braces. Sorry about this. Yeah, curly braces. Enter. So open our curly braces, then we have to bring it down so we'll see what we are doing very clearly. So inside our curly braces, what we're going to do, just type in, before this curly braces, just type in move. I think I missed that. Move. Yeah, move. Then inside this place, sorry about that. So what you're going to do now, after you have put in the at keyframes, then you give space and light move. Then inside this our curly braces, we have to light the percentage. One thing with animation is that it move from 0 to transition move from 0 to 100. What I mean by that is, if you hover our mouse over this transition, you see it is at 0% state, as a kind of 1% state. Once you hover your mouse, it goes to 100. It goes to extreme and come back. If you remove your mouse, it comes back to 1 again. That's what it's saying. So say 100. Remove your mouse, it go back to that 1% again. So but for animation, you can maneuver the percentage. You can move to from 1% to 2% to 1.5, back to 3.5, 1 to 2. Just let's do that so you can see what we mean. So let's say 0%, say 0%, let's say shift 0%, open curly braces, enter. Inside the curly braces, just type in transform 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 transrate transform. Just go back there and just put this sign here, transform. Then I think is, yeah, transform translate x. So this translate, let's put how many pixels are we going to add here. Now let's just say 30 pixels. Okay, then let's go down. Let's go outside the curly braces. Let's say 2.5 percentage, 2.5%. Open a curly braces for it. Then okay, no need of, let's just do something here. Instead of typing this manual, let's just highlight this 0% and its properties, and then shift at the and click the drop down arrow to duplicate it. So let's duplicate it up to, let's stop at 4. Then a percentage, let's just edit the percentage to 2.5. Then inside this one, let's just make the pixel, say 50. Then here, let's make the pixel 200. Then the percentage, let's say 50%, and then here let's say here 100%. Then let's make the pixel something like, say let's say, okay, let me just use what we're using now. Okay, let me just say 150 pixels. So we have to add background to, let's say this 2.5. Yeah, immediately within the 2.5 curly braces, let's just say let's say background color. Let's just add this color here. Just add any random color. Just say this dark orange. Then let's also add here background color. Let's just select a random color that will be eye catching. Let's say okay, should I use blue or let me go for something more darker? Okay, let me use okay this one. Okay, this one green. Then for 100%, let me just say something like let me say red. I think red will work. This background color. Let's say okay. Let me use brown. Brown is here already. It can serve the same purpose. So now, what another changes we have to make here? What we have to do now? We have to add our animation name, which is this move here. Let's go up to our animation, which is this one. So under let's say animation name. Let's leave that for now. Let's just say animation name. Animation name. Let's say the animation name will be this name here, move. So let's type it in move. Then another thing we are going to add again is animation duration. I think here is it. Animation duration. I'll just say let's say 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Can see how it's moving. Can see that. So let's also add another thing. Let's add animation iteration count. Let's just say 2 seconds. Can see that. Let's just say 2. Or let me just make it 3. Let's make it 3. Can see that. Can see how the animation is working. Then if you want to alter anything, okay, let's say seems like it is too fast. Let me just make here 10 seconds. Can see how it's moving. As it's coming back, it's changing dark orange. Okay, let me make it 15 seconds so it can pick our distance well. Now let me manipulate small thing here in the animation. Let me change the color. Let me just do it in a way that it will look more nicer. Let me say let's say here, let me just do let me cancel this point. Let it be 25%. Let's see what's happened. Then here let's just 25, 50, 100. You can see what's going on. You can see that. So let's add multiple colors. Just say 10%, 20%, okay, 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, up to 10 different colors. Let's see what will happen. So let's make this one 10%, 10%, 10%, then this one 20%, then this one 30%, then let's add more. Let's highlight this one. As we're adding, we have to change the colors. Let's highlight this one. Let's Control Alt drop down and let's add up to 10. So okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's add more 6 more 6. I think it's okay. More 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6. So here we're going to edit this one to be 40%. 40%. Then let's change the color to maybe something like let's say gold. Okay, gold is already here. Let's say what color is missing here? I think there's no green there. Let's say green. Or okay, let's say green. Then is now 40%. 40%. Then okay, 40%. 40%. Then this is 150 pixel. Then let me also okay. Let me make the pixel let me make it 200. That's 200. Then inside this place, let me change this color to let's say what color again? Let me say lemon. Okay, I think I already have lemon here. Let me just choose another color that is very bright and nice. Let me select this light green. Then light green, let me send the pixel to 200. Then let me come down. Then let me say inside this place, this will be 50%. Then inside this this next one, let's say the percentage will be 60. Let's just do it 1 to 10. Transition, even you can as well break it in one percentage. It will keep on changing the color till it reaches, then it will turn, it loops back to the one which is supposed to. So now let me do this one now. Let's say this brown here. Let me change the color to what color will I choose now? Let's say which color is good for me now? Let's say gray color. Let's say gray. Then let me make it 250 pixel, not 2000. That's 250. Then this place, let me make it 70%. 70%. Then let me leave it at 150 pixel. Then let me say inside it, let me just add another color. Let me say violet color. So this violet color now. Let me say okay, let me leave the percentage, let me leave the pixel as 150. Then this one, let me do the pixel. Let me make the pixel why did I clean this color brush? Let me cancel. Yeah, it's not so. Inside this place, let me make this one 80%. Then this one now, which color will I add to you now? Let me say you will be I don't think I have blue here. Let me just make you blue. Okay, let me say okay, blue. No, let me say blue. Then inside this place, let me also make this one. Let me make this one 90%. Jesus, fuck, shit, what's going on? Oh my Jesus. Make this one chocolate. Then let's make this one 100%. This one should be 100%. Then I think we are good. So you can see the animation. Now let's see what we do here. Let's alter this. Let's make this in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Then animation iteration. Let's say 1. Let's see what's happened. You can see it's changing the colors. See what's going on. There's the animation. That's how it works. So the iteration means the looping. So let's say it will loop 7 times. So you can see what it's doing. It's changing colors. This is how to do animation in CSS. So that will bring us to the end of our tutorial in CSS. Thank you very much. Subscribe to our channel because we'll be building more projects, more and more of them under HTML and CSS. There are a lot of things we also cover and how to use some tricks in the HTML and CSS, and also projects will also help us to learn more and more. So that's the basic and the easiest way to learn anything that's related to coding or of any language. You learn the basics, then you work on the projects. So that's it. Thank you, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.